he married Jenny von Westphalen in 1843. Due to his political publication, Marx became stateless. Even he is thrown, he's rusticated. He was rusticated from his own country, and he became stateless and live in exile with his wife and children in London for decades, where he continues to develop his thought in collaboration with the German thinkers Friend Friedrich Engels. Friedrich Engels here notable. I would like you notice this name. Friedrich Engels he was at a time his co-worker and a very good friend, and they both are very good. They both have a very good friendship and soul combination. Okay, this huge. I think to cover the all slide, I think I need to skip. I need to discuss less discussion about the all elaborated discussion I have mentioned here. I'm going to the next slide. Karl Marx. Guys, we're gonna go through this all contribution, this all crucial content that we'll discuss here today. And the Karl Marx, we all know the Karl Marx contribution in philosophy is huge. Besides, his contribution on economy is enormous. And that's the very important part he revolutionized to change the human mind in economy. And okay, we'll discuss it later on. And Karl Marx's contribution in social science and socialism is also very, very crucial part that he revolutionized in Sarah. Okay, let's get on the topic. I would like you definitely be rise of the question and be coherent, co-intention to go on the further. I don't know whether it is existing or not, but I'm desperately interested in it. Karl Marx's contribution on philosophy. That's the part one of our discussion today. His philosophical movement. As we already discussed a little bit about Karl Marx's philosophical interest and how could he turn himself into the philosophical, neglecting and expressing his reluctant feelings on law, whatever really preferable to his father. As a university student, Karl Marx, in this duration, 1880 to 1883, joined a movement known as Young Hegelians. Guys, here Hegelians are great philosopher and political uglinessist. He tried to discuss or he tried to criticize all the political things Hegelian. Karl Marx was greatly influenced by Hegelian philosophy, and he is very influenced or interested on Hegelians and criticized the political and natural establishment of that day. He became the radical nature, and his writing would eventually get him expelled by his government of Germany, even France, even Belgium. After all, he went to the England to explore his mind. Marx, and here's a notable thing again, Marx did not study directly with Hegel, but after Hegel died, Marx studied under one of the Hegel's pupils, Bruno. Bruno Beer. Guys, we all are familiar with Bruno earlier. Ma'am, you also taught this about the Bruno in our class.
Sorry to interrupt you. That was another Bruno, not this one, I guess. He was a scientist.
Okay, ma'am. Bruno, ma'am, this Bruno was philosopher, a leader of
this was a philosopher.
Yes. Yeah, a leader of the circle of young Hegelian to whom Marx attached himself. However, Marx and Engels, I mentioned it before, they were both friends, come to disagree with Bruno Beer and the rest of young Hegelians about socialism and also about the uses of Hegelian's dialectic. Having achieved this thesis difference in philosophy between the Turin and Epicurus in 1841, the young Marx progressively broke away with the Russian university and its teaching impregnated by German idealism. Karl Marx, there's huge. I think for the lack of times, I think I shouldn't read it out elaborately. I can brief it from my own. And perhaps towards history and social science, his contribution and philosophical movement was huge. And he tried to conclude by illustrating, by criticizing the earlier philosopher that mentioned the ignorance of our community of the philosophical book. And most of his philosophical books, that communism manifesto, the communist manifesto, and the philosophical and economics manuscript, and and that Dutch capitals, these books are very important to illustrate this all thing. Okay, I would like to go to the next slide of his critical thinking. Karl Marx philosophical changes. What kinds of changes he brought? That's the very important thing. And we can classify his works into two different sections: young Marx works and mature Marx works. Young Marx works literally focus on the economic and philosophical manuscript and economics philosophy, Dutch capital. That's the young Marx works, and he demonstrates, and his full concern of his works while he were young is on economy and economical philosophy. And the mature ages, here I have mentioned, you are saying the key point, that young Marx philosophy and mature Marx philosophy. His pure philosophical was political and historical intervention, etc. This was on his mature ages, and he tried to demonstrate. He tried to figure out the ugliness of all this fact. Okay, Marx philosophy is thus inextricably linked with the critique of political economy, and his historical intervention intervention in his works movement, such as the 1875 critique of the Gotha program and Communist Manifesto. Here, these guys, the Communist Manifesto's book is very important, that he revolutionized and tried to figure out his thought to the entire world. Marx Marx built on full contribution on Hegel's makes to our philosophical understanding. They are the replacement of mechanism. Here, guys, mechanism is very important, and the atomism is also as well. Beside, Marx tried to funny. Beside, Marx tried to illustrate the Aristotelian categories at organicism and essentialism. Here, the Aristotelian categories are reluctant to the others, but in his side, Marx Royce's argument about, and Aristotelian categories are literally about the categories of substance, and try to mention the quantity, quality, relations, space, place, time, and situation, condition, action. Sounds like something that was four parts of system overlapped by the Aristotle. I personally very really reluctant about learning Aristotelian theories that about revolutionized for the human phenomena, for the human civilization. The ideas that world history progressed through his uses, philosophical changes that Marx did is enormous, but we can feel by these all things. Okay, I would like not wasting much time on this slide to move on to another. That's Karl Marx. Okay, guys, Marxism and philosophy. Marxism and philosophy. Karl Marx works. Marxism is a great topic. Great. It's individually, it itself is a great things to discuss. But I'd like to mix it up in between this slide, and hope you can see overlap in all things. And you are seeing the Marxism is a social, political, and economic theory oriented by Karl Marx, or originated by Karl Marx, which focus on the struggle between capitalists and the working class. And capitalists here, the capitalists mean capitalists is the richest people who dominate on working class. I mean, I have everything. I'm rich people. I can dominate working class people, and the benefits that I'm getting by my own self, because I have the money and I'm supporting them. But the productivity of the working class people is nothing, only on consideration of their salary and stipend and so on. Okay, Marx wrote the power of relationship between capitalist and working class inherently exploitative and would inevitably create class conflict. Here on Marxism, we will get to know about communism in further and next slide is that I have mentioned in the word about Marxism. But at this slide, I would like you only focus on this relationship that he made about. He believed in conflict. He believed that this conflict would ultimately lead to a revolution in which the working class would overthrow the capitalists and the seize control of the economy. Okay, what if you talk about the Marx philosophy in the last stanza, last para that I mentioned, if this claim is still more or less the case in 21st century, as many Marxists would claim, then Marxist theory is the fact of political contribution of the philosophical tradition, while Marxist philosophers feel that is too quick and dismal and dismissal of the post-Marxian philosophical tradition. Okay, I would like to conclude these things in the next slide. Let's get on the next slide. Okay, hence, in more precise, it could be said that Marx is the father of modern socialism, communism, and conflicting theory of the philosophy. Okay, here the note is socialism and communism is really new term for this slide. I think Marxism is elaborated and really short form of communism, Marxism, and capitalism. So socialism, communism is main part and an elaborated form of Marxism, and Marxism is really the major part of this whole thing, and this is the and it was the abbreviation. Okay, Marxism can be said the Western intellectual philosophy or practice or tradition that has spanning 450 years, consisting three major components. Okay, noting out like these 3 points: political doctrine, and there and we all are got to know the Reformation, Renaissance, and all the things that happen in the history, in English history and French Revolution, Enlightenment history. These all are determined by Karl Marx on his political doctrine, philosophy or anti-philosophy or the history, and an absolute analysis of the functioning of the economy. Okay, like you all move on the next slide. This is the part 2, the Karl Marx contribution on economy, and he really argued on about economical system and about economics that were leading the economical procedure, economical field, and about the together of the all dominating personality with around the era of the time of his time.
Farid, you need to make it short.
Okay, ma'am. I'm trying to make it short, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I think I shouldn't read out the all stanza or part that I elaborated.
yes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay, you are seeing capitalism. Well, if you talk about the Marxism of economy, Marxism, that's a very important part of Marx work, and this Marxism consists these basic 3 things: capitalism, communism, and socialism, and these all things. Okay, I would like to introduce you with capitalism first. Okay, Marx introduced the capitalism. It sounds like that capitalism developed historically out of the previous system of feudalism and mercantilism in Europe. And if you talk about the mercantilism is an important thing. You can guess the merchant who make trade and who engage with people, who dominate people. And in Europe, in France, Venice, and England, mercantilism very available. You will get to know. and dramatically expanded and industrialization of the districts and believed mass of market consumer goods. Okay, capitalism is a concept. I would like make you understand the concept by an example. This is a man has huge money and he invents his money on his company, and there are huge people, working class people that's working to make his work possible for the market. And while his works and the product is produced to the market, and he got huge benefits on it, and the profit is only goes to him escaping their salary only. And imagine 100 by the 100 capitals once got 2000 or 400 benefits or profit. In this profit, nobody nobody gonna have the part, the share of any profit except in their salaries. This is the capitalism profit. And Marx really argued on it, and he hates it because that's not gonna happen. It's not equal. And if capitalism is happen, nobody will definitely be rich enough about, and nobody is gonna be happy. Poor will they ultimately be poor, and rich will constantly be more richest than they are at the same time. Because he tried to think about the capitalism, he at the same time socialism exists, and he tried to combine the socialism and capitalism in a common sense, that is communism. Okay, that is the capitalism's concept that I have. Capitalism emphasis here is huge, and that's the key point. Capitalism marks the capitalism as an economic system driven by the needs to the maximized profit. To fundamental class doctrine dominate society. A capitalist class that privately owned societies mean, okay, you are seeing that, and I have already discussed in brief. That's the capitalist theory. All the money is mine, all the profit is mine. You are just accountable to get the works and rate of your working times period and of your energy, nothing else. Okay, we will move on to the socialism. Advantages of capitalism, you are seeing advantage of, sounds like advantage of capitalism is, if in any particular country capitalism exists, then this country will improve, this country will be developed constantly because there is competition. If capitalism, where is capitalism exists, there is competition is available. As we can consider the American United States of America, this country is still exists in the capitalism. They believe in capitalism because capitalism create competition to be richer, to be competitive. That is why
Farid,
that's the capital.
you have two
Yes,
minutes
ma'am.
left. 2 minutes left.
Oh, ma'am, I can't make it cover.
Yeah, you took
There's huge, ma'am.
more than
It's still
20 minutes.
communism, socialism. I'm okay.
You
I
need to
think I should.
skip all the part because we don't have much time. Even my
Ma'am,
Zoom meeting is running out of time.
ma'am,
It
you
will be
said
over
to,
within 4 minutes. The meeting will
okay,
be
ma'am.
over within.
You have said to make it so OD. That is why I made the
But
slide so.
I said to make it like you will cover it within 10 minutes.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So, okay, I will only discuss. Let the slide be aside from my discussion. Okay, socialism, ma'am. Socialism is a concept where people believe everybody should get the equal rights, and government will talk. Everybody can earn money by themselves, but the profit would goes to the government, and government will spread the public equally, and the host would be government, and everybody can earn money. In this side, here's my arguments about that. If government take everything and provide to the society or common people equally, there would definitely be exist peace, but will they would definitely be losing their competitive thoughts and competence, and their courage to be great. That means they will constantly be losing their growth, or growth of economy, or and overall development of a country. So socialism is not a good solution according to the Marx and according to me as well. But Marx discussed the communism. Marx term a new term of communism. That's the communism. Communism part. Communism discussed that everybody should have the same rights, and all the money that everybody can earn, everybody can play, everybody can save for themselves is same, equal, and will serve to the equal right. And if you can earn your money, then this money is yours. That's not your son. If you if the hierarchical system, you here as your son cannot enjoy this money. This money should definitely go to the society so that this money can be equalized to the common people. And if your son needs to enjoy himself, he needs to earn himself. That's the communism system. Communism system is every money is for everything. And if you talk about the domination, here is a part of domination. If you have money, and the doctrine said you have money, you can dominate, but your son not. That's the theory of communism. Okay, I would like to go to the conclusion. That's the part 4 of our today's discussion. That's the conclusion. The ideas of Marx and least impact of the revolutionary period